mercy. Oh my God, I forgot.
You are Locked On Heat Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Miami on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Whoa, what is up, Heat fans? Welcome to another episode of your Locked On Heat Postcast. My name is Jim Grieshaber. Call me Grease. Trying to get this remote to work. Give me 1 second here. Oh, good Lord. Come on. Come on. Jeez. Of course, while we're live. Come on. Let's go. I don't know what's going on here. Come on. Dang. One second, guys. I'm here. Come on. Oh, good Lord. Come on. What is going on? I'm sorry. This is all going crazy on me at once. And I am about to... All right. Come on. Come on. Come on. Good Lord. All right, guys. Wow. Okay. Talk about live TV. The remote stops working. Got to go behind the TV, fix it. And here we are live, literally around the world. Unbelievable how like a one-man band sitting in front of a TV by himself for a half hour every day. We'll have co-hosts soon on these Locked On Podcast Network postcasts. All right, here we go. Welcome to your Locked On Heat postcast. My name is Jim Grieshaber. Call me Grease. What a start to the show. Almost like the Heat tonight. I mean, just now I'm rolling over wires here. What in the world is going on? 2 seconds of starting a show. All right, what a mess. That might be the worst open to a show that I've ever done in my entire life. So the good news is it can only go up from here. Welcome to your Locked On Heat Postcast. Heat Postcast, Jim Grieshaber. Excuse me, call me Grease, G-R-I-E-S. And oh, man, at Jim Grease _ on social media. What a bad one tonight for your Miami Heat, guys. There's no way to sugarcoat this one. No way to even, I mean, look, even Imagine doesn't have the pictures uploaded. They never have, they have like 12 photos that I would never even use. And I'm trying to figure it out. Why? This is our exclusive partner when there's never the right pictures that match what we're trying to say. But there are for football, and we'll have the Dolphins tomorrow. We'll have news on that as well. Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease. A terrible night for your Miami Heat. There's no way to sugarcoat it. I mean, just an awful game, 136-100. They lose to the Utah Jazz. How bad was it tonight for Miami? Well, they're 17-16. It's the second game. Or is it the first game of the Jimmy Butler suspension or the second game? I can't remember, but the saga's been ongoing, and obviously they miss him. They miss him a lot. He's their best player. He's their leader. He's one of the best players in the league, still at 35. You saw it when he had the 35-point triple-double, and they look lost without him. Look at Bam Adebayo there, and look at Tyler Herro. Now, here's what I'm going to say, all right? The Utah Jazz, first of all, stink. They've lost 5 in a row. They have the 30th ranked defensive team in the NBA. They've allowed 120 points per game, and only 2 teams have scored under 100 against them. Miami somehow got to 100 tonight. I don't know how the Heat did it, but what an awful, 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 awful game played tonight by Miami. They played with no effort. They did not rebound the ball. They did not have any sharpness on their passes at all, and they could not shoot to save their lives. But the most important thing that I saw was a team giving no effort. They brought the G League kids in the fourth quarter, the guys they brought up from the G League from Sioux City, and they played with effort. They played with passion. They played with fire, and Duncan Robinson did too in the second half, and Khalil Ware. And that's the only reason that your Miami Heat even got to 100 points. And it should have been. This game went up to 37 a couple of times. It was their biggest loss of the season. Opening night against Orlando. Let's see. Opening night against Orlando was, that was November. And that was, October was Magic and the Heat. I think they ended up losing that game by 23 points, I want to say. But it was a bad night on opening night for Miami, and this is their worst loss of the year. Only twice have they been smoked the way they were tonight. In other words, twice this year, they've had a team build a lead bigger than 32 points against them, and it was tonight. And it's Utah. Guys, if this were the Denver Nuggets, if this were the OKC Thunder, if this were even the Cleveland Cavaliers, who the Miami Heat beat on this very same floor, by the way, if this were the Boston Celtics even, you'd understand, right? Even if it were a team like the Knicks, even if you could go down the whole entire list, any team that's even in playoff contention, this is the Utah Jazz. This team absolutely freaking stinks. They are awful. They don't play defense. They don't have a superstar on the team. You know what I'm saying? So I do not understand for the life of me how that works. I do not understand for the life of me, you know what I mean, how they could just come out here and do what they did tonight. Now, I know this team came out flat. It's a 2-game homestand. You had a 2-1 road trip, the 2-game homestand, all the Jimmy Butler drama, but you just got smoked by the Indiana Pacers, whose backcourt made Tyler Herro look small and really incapable, honestly speaking. And then tonight, Utah's size on the front line did the same thing to Bam, and then Tyler had an off night. But here's what I want to say about Jimmy Butler, all right? And this is interesting because I do not have, for some reason, my background up there, but it is coming, guys, I promise. I don't know what happened here tonight as we continue with the show, but wow, it is legitimately just been one of those nights, and we've got that uploaded, and why is it not showing? Is it there, right? Hey, there we go. All right, there we go. Got everything worked out. Gotta love it when you're the only person here. Hey, should I spin too and spin around and spin some plates and then juggle with the other hand? I think I could do that now. Doing this year with Locked On has been amazing because of all the technology we have with Podio and Simplecast and StreamYard, and doing them all myself with YouTube and all that. It's been a lot of fun. All right, real quick, want to let you know that tonight's episode, get this show back on the tracks. Tonight's episode of your Locked On Heat postcast is brought to you by FanDuel. That's right. FanDuel is absolutely phenomenal. FanDuel is one of the best companies in the world, and you know this because we love FanDuel, and we talk about them all the time here on the show. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease. A lot of exciting things going on here with the network, but the biggest thing with the Miami Heat, look, we got about a couple of minutes here remaining in this first segment. Jimmy B missed. I mean, that could be the whole show, right? But it goes way deeper than that. The offense was offensive. They didn't shoot for crap. They didn't rebound. They didn't hustle. Bam was rendered useless by this huge Utah front line. Everybody there, they have size. They have a young nucleus. They have a ton of draft picks. Do not be surprised to see the Utah Jazz in a couple of years be a very powerful force in the NBA, in the Western Conference and beyond, because all those picks, all those young players, trade them for the right chips, and what happens? What happens? That's how you build those teams. And for the Miami Heat, they always seem to do it the right way, but Jimmy Butler has painted Pat Riley and the Miami Heat into a corner. He's also painted himself into a corner, right? Because they're not good without him. He's one of the best players in the league. And depending upon which Jimmy you get, and look, night in and night out, when you're 35 years old, you're not, you know what I mean? So it's going to be Jimmy when Jimmy needs to be at his best at this point moving forward. Minutes, load management, things like that are going to be important for a guy who they did not want to extend for 2 more years after last season at a ridiculous amount of money. It was like $55.5 million a year, right? $56.5 million, I believe. But that kind of money for a guy like Jimmy at this stage of his career is a big risk. It's a big gamble, and it's a ton of cash. You're developing Tyler. You're developing Bam for years with Jimmy there. Bam and Tyler are second-tier to third-tier players in the NBA. Say what you want. And by the way, smash the subscribe button. Hit the bell so you know when we're coming your way again. And get involved in the chat. Let me know what you think, Heat fans or non-Heat fans. We get some of you guys in here too. But this is interesting when you see how well Tyler's been playing this year. 4th in the league in 3-point field goals. These last couple of games, though, not so good. Not so good. Tyrese Halliburton with a huge game for Indiana, and they crushed the Heat. And then tonight against Utah with all that size, and that really negated Bam. But Tyler did not play well tonight either. So here's my take on that before we hit the break, okay? My take on that is absolutely very simple. Tyler Herro and Bam Adebayo as a 2 and as a 3 as far as options go, with a lot of shooters around them, with other talented athletic players around them, doing other things on the floor. Tyler's just really a scorer for this team. He's going to rebound, get some assists here and there, but the scoring. But Bam does everything, captain, soul of the team. You know the deal. But those guys are a 2 and 3 option on almost any NBA team. Almost any NBA team, they're a 2 or a 3, right? On Miami, they were a 2 and a 3. And I know you're going to say, what, Jimmy Butler wasn't always the number one offensive option, and that might be true because he's an unselfish player, right? He distributes the basketball. It's within a team system, but he is the number one offensive option. He is the best scorer on the team. And, you know, when Jimmy's out there and when the floor is spaced correctly and they're able to run Bam out to the high post with Jimmy on one wing and Tyler on another, you know, that helps Bam a lot in that point forward, point center role where he can really pass. He can shoot the J. He can take those guys and get by him on the drive. But when you don't have Jimmy Butler taking that ball to the hoop, drawing fouls on those bigs, you see what happens to Bam. You see what happens to Bam. I'm not going to overreact and say it's going to be every night, but when you got big guys coming at you in waves and you don't have anybody getting anybody in foul trouble, and you're shooting the ball like that, you're not rebounding, which is always a bad thing for Miami, points in the paint. Anyway, it is unbelievable how bad this team can look at times. They looked horrible on opening night. They looked horrible against Indy. They looked horrible tonight, and you just put this one in the rear view. But here's the worst part. You are about to embark on a 6-game road trip out west. I can't even do it. My arthritis in the west side, right? So that's where you're going, a 6-game road trip, and you stink right now. But not only do you stink, your team is putting forth no effort. These are professional athletes. Oh, Jimmy's a distraction. BS. Professional athletes. Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease, G-R-I-E-S, @JimGrease_ on social media. BS. They're professional athletes. More on that in a minute. Locked On Podcast Network. This is your Heat Postcast rolling on. En un momento, por favor. On the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And I get a chance to tell you about, our good friends at Mint Mobile. I love Mint Mobile, and you will too when I tell you why, because don't you love paying less for something that really should cost a lot more, right? Like, you know how sometimes you go to like the Nordstrom's rack and you get something that you could have got at Nordstrom, something that was $300, you end up getting for $100. Or I just got my lady for her birthday a pair of Louboutin sneakers, Christian Louboutins, right? I got them $1,000, got them for $200. My point is, don't you love saving on things and still using and getting that great product? And almost like nobody knows. It's almost like a dirty little secret. Well, not anymore. With big wireless providers, what you see is never what you get. Somewhere between the store and your first month bill, the price you thought you were paying magically skyrockets like a team on the scoreboard when they're playing the Miami Heat. With Mint Mobile, you'll never have to worry about gotchas ever again. When Mint Mobile says $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan, they mean it. And look, the bad experiences. Look, I mean, people with other providers, and my girlfriend's one of them. She's like, I will not switch from the provider, which I will not name. I've been with them for 20 years. You're paying $100 a month more than you need to. That is not smart. Say bye-bye, David Spade, bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile's here to rescue you with premium wireless plans starting at $15 a month. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all your existing contacts. How's that sound, right? Well, you might want to keep some of them. You might want to leave them. Now, that's a personal thing. So ditch overpriced wireless with Mint Mobile's deal. You get 3 months of premium wireless service for $15 a month. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. That's mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. This is my favorite part of the show. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. Whew, there we go. You like that? That wasn't bad. Real quick, want to remind you, too, that your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. And why not? As we revolutionize the game here with the Locked On Podcast Network. Introducing Locked On Heat daily newsletter, one stop for Ultimate Team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox, again, daily. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. The name will tell you. LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Heat newsletter, which will tell you tomorrow that they stink without Jimmy Butler. And something needs to be done right now, Pat Riley. Something needs to be done right now, Andy Ellisberg. Something needs to be done right now, Mickey Harrison. Nick, something needs to be done because this team stinks without Jimmy Butler. He's the heart and the soul in so many ways. Now, look, I don't want to get carried away. Bam's the captain. Everybody feeds off him. You know what I mean? I'm not in the locker room, but Jimmy Butler is legitimately has all the tools. He will repeatedly attack the other team's defense, get people in foul trouble. Doesn't shoot many threes these days, but he can hit them when he needs to. Keeps everybody involved. Has that swagger, always believes he's going to win. Remember, this is a dude who took the second team or the third team in Minnesota and beat the team with the starters with Cat, Karl Anthony Towns, who's killing it, by the way, for the Knicks this year. But, you know, Miami didn't get Donovan Mitchell. There were a couple of other moves they missed on, a couple of other trades. They didn't get Damian Lillard, right? Who can they get for Jimmy Butler? Should they have made this deal a year ago coming off the finals appearance when Jimmy's stock was even higher? No, they shouldn't have, obviously, not in my opinion. But now, right now, the world's watching. Tick, 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 Pat Riley. Tick, tick, tick. Look, Riley, you're never going to get Pat Riley at a poker table, right? You're never going to call his bluff. You're never going to beat the Don. You're never going to beat the Don. He is the Don, right? Riley is the ultimate. People say Jerry West, and Jerry West, without a doubt, is the greatest basketball figure of all time. He's the number 3, maybe 2 guard of all time. Michael, Kobe, oh, I forgot I'm doing a Heat show. Maybe 4 behind D-Wade, right? Or Allen Iverson's in there. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of guys in there, and the list will change over the years. But Jerry West, from player to not a good coach to executive, right? To executive, amazing executive. Pat Riley, not a great player, amazing coach, incredible executive, right? Ultimate winner. So Pat Riley is the GOAT of basketball. If Pat Riley had been a better player, if Pat Riley had been Jerry West on the court, could you imagine that kind of career on the court? And Jerry West did not coach well. Remember, he coached the Lakers before, and you saw it in the movie, right? And shout out to Jeff Pearlman, Showtime, the movie, but you saw it, right? And you saw what happened when Riley replaced Westhead, right? And it is what it is. But Riley became a great coach, but Jerry West was right there with him the whole time in La La Land. So really interesting, but you're not going to bluff Pat Riley. You're not going to beat the Don. So whatever Jimmy Butler's doing to try to get himself out of town, it's going to work. He's going to be gone. So that's what Jimmy wants. And in this day and age, now the Heat have decided that's what they want, and they're saying they're listening to offers. Not that they're going to take anything, that they are listening. But all these other teams are going, oh, he's a malcontent. All these other teams are going, oh, they stink without him. All these other teams are going, Herro and Adebayo as a 1 and a 2. Ha! All these other teams are doing that right now. And what does that mean? It could mean nothing, but it could mean that the price is going down on what you could get for Jimmy B. And I don't even understand why that would be the case. I don't understand why that would be the case and why you would allow that to happen with this guy, because you have to have known after what you said at the end of last season when Jimmy didn't play with the knee injury, told him that if you didn't play, you should shut your mouth. Well, Jimmy really took that personally. As a top guy, as a leader on a team, he didn't feel like you should be talked about in that way. And, you know, he might have a point, but as Pat Riley, man, too many things have happened in sports that start with something small. You just get that little idiot that throws a cigarette out the window, right? When they're driving through a nice, beautiful, like Alligator Alley, for example, you throw a cigarette out the window, it sits there and nothing's burning, but eventually it just sparks up a little bit on that leaf. And then it travels slowly through that leaf. And then before you know it, you got a huge fire. Yeah, that's how the wildfires almost always start, right? And that's the way it's happening right now with this. He wants out, they want him out, and everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. That drives down the price unless you take a team with a very smart executive. And maybe we should do a show where we talk about after one of these games where Jimmy Butler might end up. But that's more your Locked On Heat with those guys every day. Wes and George. Shout out Wes and George. Locked On Heat do a great job. So check them out right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, wherever you get your podcasts, and free right here on YouTube, as you know. And thank you again for bearing with us at the start of the show. That was a disaster, technically speaking. And with the camera right on you, we got the TV started and everything. But, it really does tell a story when you look at Bam Adebayo right here behind me, just looking lost, and Rozier, who really needs to pick up his play, didn't show up tonight either. So just a real tough game all the way across the board for Miami. The offense was offensive. They didn't shoot. They didn't rebound. They didn't score in the paint. Jimmy B was horribly missed. And when I put Bam and Tyler too, I'm going to tell you why in a minute, because they really weren't there tonight at all, especially Bam. Non-Sensabaugh. How about that? Sensabaugh. This is awesome for him, not for you and not for me and not for the Heat. But this dude, think about this, right? A career high. 34 points. He had like 17 in the fourth quarter. Bryce Sensabaugh from Ohio State. Pretty amazing, right? Pretty amazing. And I'm trying to remember if he was, he's the kid who was born in Wilton Manors, right outside of Fort Lauderdale. Florida high school basketball player of the year his senior year in Orlando and ends up with the Jazz, but he averages 7.8 points a game. And your Miami Heat allowed him to score 34 tonight, but he wasn't the only one for Utah. 24 points for Collins, 17 for Sexton, 15 for Markkanen, 14 for Kiesler, and 11 for George. 6 guys in double figures for Utah, who again had lost 5 in a row and is 30th in the league in defense. Miami barely scraped 100 by the end of this game. They managed to get 5 guys in double figures. Nobody scored 20 for the Heat tonight. The rest of the box score, the team stats, much, much more coming your way. Heat Postcast, live right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease. Tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. And you guys know how much we love FanDuel here on the network. But a big win for Utah, 36 points. They blow out the Miami Heat. Got to hit the break, running a little late on that. But man, oh man, the Miami Heat just did not show up tonight. You can fix effort, and they have a lot of work to do. We'll hit on that just on the other side. Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, here we go. And I have a chance to tell you really quickly that tonight's episode of your Locked On Heat Postcast is brought to you by Robin Hood, because it ain't all good. That's an Ice Cube song about Robin Hood, being like the Robin Hood of the hood, and that's a great song. So this is brought to you by Robin Hood, and I am just, come on, baby, let's go. What in the world? There it is. Okay, boom. The new gold standard. There it is. All right, we love it. We love it. We love it. We love it. And I really enjoy Robin Hood Gold. It's really something that I've come to love myself. With Robin Hood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. That's right. Robin Hood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. You know what I'm saying? Like the Star Island peeps. Now the resourceful individual with Robin Hood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.25 APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on IRA account. And that's a big number, that 3%, right? It is unbelievable on IRA contributions. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rates may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. There you have it. Robinhood Gold right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. And tonight's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. And you know how much we love FanDuel. And one of the things that I love so much about being here on the Locked On Podcast Network with you, not only do I get to just do all these shows in Miami, as I've done for most of my career, went to the U, been living in Miami a long time in my adult years, and just really nice to be working with these teams again. But man, the sponsors that we bring you, the deals that you get, the hookups, holla if you hear me. Well, you better be listening right now, because you need to be ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets. If you win, the FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place bets live on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you can place your live bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You're going to get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Beautiful. Gotta love it. Man, that FanDuel, that deal's pretty good, man. I'm not going to lie. That deal is good. So thanks for hanging out with me and us tonight. Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease. Heat Postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day, 136-100. They get smoked by the Indiana Pacers. James Naismith would have been proud. I wonder if they could have even scored 136 in a peach basket. Good Lord. But yeah, the Heat, 17 for Jovic. That would be your team leader. Take me to your leader. 16 points for Duncan Robinson, 6 of 12, 3 of 9 from 3. And then 15 for Tyler. We don't need another hero. Well, you didn't get one tonight. 4 of 12 and 1 for 8 from 3. 9 points below his average, obviously way below his three-point makes. Rozier, despicable tonight. 8 points on 4 of 9 shooting, 0 for 5 from 3. He has not done much this season at all. And, you know, you look at Keyshawn Johnson, 7 points. Christopher had 5 points. This dude just called up from the G League. Josh Christopher was a G League player of the month in December. Burks didn't score. Everybody played. Larson had 1 point. Oh, Jaquez had 13. Oh, and Bam Adebayo. He's missing. Anybody see Bam? Where's the captain? Hey, ahoy, captain. Oh, man. No captain tonight. That's for sure. Bam Adebayo he had 6 rebounds in the first quarter, and he ended up with 8. He had 2 assists, right? You see the difference without Jimmy Butler there? Bam Adebayo had 4 points on 0 for 6 shooting, 0 for 1 for 3. Let me say this again. You're captain. You're Olympian. You're one of your all-stars. Bam Adebayo, 0 for 6, 4 points, 8 rebounds when he had 6 in the first quarter. It's almost like he's a visiting player and went to South Beach all night. I don't understand how you can play. Look, Utah's front line's huge. Utah's Collins and Markkanen and Kessler, they're monsters. They're all above 6'10". They're huge. They're big boys. You know what I mean? And that negated Bam. That limited him. And you didn't have Jimmy dribble, drive, ISO down low off the block, getting people in foul trouble, drawing double teams, kicking it out to shooters. The shooters who are normally more open, they felt it. Bam obviously really felt it, and Tyler did too. And the same thing happened against Indiana. And Jimmy didn't play in the fourth quarter of the previous 2 games. 7-game suspension, the 6-game road trip out west coming up. This is looking like it's going to be a disaster. This team needs to galvanize. Remember, you're 17 and 16. You've never been better than 3 games above 500, and now you don't have Jimmy Butler. I don't believe Jimmy Butler will play for Miami again. The only way Jimmy Butler will play for the Miami Heat again, and obviously the trade deadline's in February, right? They can't suspend him till then. The players' union's already filed a grievance, and all that's going to do is get his money. It's unpaid. It's going to be paid because these guys always get paid now, the players union, and they should. They should. But Jimmy, and he knows what the game is, and he knows what to do. He's been unhappy from the jump this year. It hasn't looked like the same Jimmy Butler. It looked like they were getting away from Jimmy as a focal point. It's been there, the writing on the wall. They were beating Philly last year in the play-in game. They were smoking them on the road. They were playing great. Jimmy hurts his knee. They lose in the playoffs without Jimmy. He says, if I'd have played, we'd have won. Pat Riley says, if you didn't play, you should shut your mouth. Jimmy's pissed. They don't extend him. He's more pissed. He comes into camp seething. He's wearing all different color hair. He's selling $100 cups of coffee. But Jimmy Butler should be winning basketball games for you. That's where he should be, on the floor. We know what he said at the press conference. Look, that was crap. He knows it. We all know it. He spoke his piece. But the reaction from the Heat, the way that they handled this, I don't know what's going on behind closed doors. I'm not there every day behind the scenes. You know what I mean? I know what I'm hearing on talk radio. I know what I'm seeing in the papers, and who reads papers? It's the internet. But you know what I'm saying? Like even Locked On Heat, these guys, right? Everybody's got their guesses. It's nothing but a bunch of conjecture at this point. Where will Jimmy Butler end up? Where do you think he should go? Who do you want back for Jimmy Butler? Hit us up in the comments. Let us know what you're thinking. We'll go back through and we'll always hit back on the comments. So let us know what you're thinking. Where should Jimmy Butler go? Who would you like to see the Heat get back? We just talked about Utah with all the young players in the draft picks, stockpiling them, right? make a big trade and a splash and get that star. Miami doesn't have those pieces. They're bringing guys up from the G League right now. I mean, who could you package with Jimmy Butler to bring back a superstar? Who could you? How would that even work? I mean, I have not. There's nothing that I've seen that would even legitimately, because you never, when a player's disgruntled like this, you never, and I mean like very rarely when I say never, if ever, very, very, very rarely get back what you are giving up in terms of talent, in terms of leadership, in terms of whatever. When you're trading a pissed off player and it's public and it's dirty laundry being aired everywhere, you're not going to get back what you could get back. And it's time for Pat Riley one more time, like, he did when he brought in Tim Hardaway and Alonzo Mourning and those guys, and, like he did when he put the big three together, the Heatles, right? Pat Riley needs to work some magic like he's done here with this team, bringing in Jimmy Butler. Who'd have thought that Wade would be gone and you'd Whiteside wouldn't be here, and who'd have thought that, right? It turns into 2 more conference championships in a bubble year and then 2 years later, right? But it doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense right now where Jimmy Butler is, this can't be fixed. It doesn't seem that bad. You ever go to couples therapy and you and your lady think, or your man or whoever, you think your problems are so bad, and the counselor or the therapist is like, yeah, no, man, the BetterHelp therapist is like, yo, you're good. You're good. This isn't that big of a deal. This doesn't seem like that big of a deal. You know what I mean? And the Heat don't think the Celtics are unbeatable. They think they can compete with or beat anybody in the conference. All right? And so the Heat are naming their price, and we're keeping it here for a little extra, just for a minute more, because he's demanded to be traded. February 6th, my mom's birthday. Happy birthday, Mom. It'll be my mom's 79th birthday this year. One more year till 80. But the Heat do have a player in mind, and the Warriors have been rumored, right? Talked about Jonathan Kuminga, and that, obviously that wouldn't work salary-wise, so they'd have to take back something with money from Golden State. But I think with Jimmy Butler, you have Warriors, Rockets, Suns. The Suns are for trash. How about Bradley Beal? The Kings are underachieving. De'Aaron Fox, Jimmy B with Sabonis. I don't know. What about Andrew Wiggins for Jimmy Butler? I don't know. I really don't know. It doesn't really change much about the situation. It could probably be, Kevin Love talked about the end of the road. It could be the end of the road. I would like to see cooler heads prevail. I think this team long-term would be better off without Jimmy. 3 shows ago, I was sitting here telling you how this team's getting its identity together. I was talking about how they had just beaten Orlando and Houston on their road trip. Oh, yeah. Orlando didn't have their 2 best front court players in Banchero and Wagner, but, and they didn't have their best backcourt player in that game. So a little bit of fool's gold there. They love to talk about it on the telecast like it was a legit win, and they had 4 starters out, Orlando did. So, I love Eric and Crotty. I've known Eric Reed forever. I love Eric Reed. He's great. But, they put the sunshine and they sprinkle it through the rose-colored glasses like they always do. Mentioning Jimmy very few and far between tonight. But, Bryce Sensabaugh goes for 34. Jimmy Butler could have helped with defense tonight for sure. And that's it. Just a horrendous stretch for the Heat right now. And how incredible is it if you're Jimmy Butler sitting there and this team continues to play like this? You got to do something soon. And don't think Pat Riley's not. Look, I'm an idiot sitting here in front of a microphone. Pat Riley's the Don. He'll take care of this. He's earned your faith. He's earned your trust. What they've done in 2020 and 2022. Come on. With this group right here, and you see the shooting, even though they didn't shoot well tonight. They've had games in the last week or two where they shot 46, 47%, okay, from 3, over 50 from the floor. So when you think about what this team is becoming, when Jimmy Butler is there, the development of Tyler, all those things with Bam, those go away a bit when they have to all of a sudden be a number 1 and a number 2 as opposed to a 2 or a 3. You see it all the time in the NFL. How many times a number 2 or 3 receiver has a huge year? I think of when Duper and Clayton played, and I love you, Jimmy Cephalo, but man, you were wide open all the time with those 2 guys going deep. Cephalo was open all the time. Why do you think they had all those tight ends, Bruce Johnson, Dan Hardy, Joe Rose, all catching balls? Because your number 1 and 2 option were that good, and everybody else is wide open, the fullback out of the backfield. It's the same thing in the NBA. Now, all of a sudden, Tyler's getting all the defensive attention. Now, all of a sudden, Bam's getting that whole front line coming at him, and they're all 6'10 plus, 250 plus. So it's not the same when your number 2 and number 3 become your number 1 and your number 2. they might not be cut out for those roles. As a 2 or a 3, they're amazing, offensively speaking, Tyler and Bam. But as a 1 and a 2, are you going into battle? Which teams do you feel confident that you could beat in the Eastern Conference in a 7-game series if Tyler and Bam are your 1 and 2? If you don't trade Jimmy, and let's say he's not there, he gets hurt or something. Now, if they can work this out and they can just pat him on the butt and say, here's your extension, which they're not going to do. This is not the way to get the extension. The ideal thing for Jimmy would be for the Heat to give him the extension, then trade him, and then the team gets it. But I don't really see that happening by any stretch of the imagination. He's out of here like Vladimir, and I don't think he's playing for Miami again. Heat Postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. What a great show it's been tonight. Thanks so much to Robinhood. What a great sponsor they are, providing the privileges of high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhood.com/gold. That's all there is, Heat fans. There is no more. Thank you for being here with me, you everydayers. And if you're new, welcome, right? You're hitting us up in the chat. You're having fun in there with me night in and night out. The numbers are growing on YouTube. The numbers are growing wherever you get your podcast, your preferred platform, whether it be Spotify, whether it be Apple Podcasts, whether it be iHeart, Stitcher, Podbean, you name it. You can listen to the Miami Heat right here, the postcast, every single game after the game. And by the way, how about the Dolphins tomorrow? How about your Miami Dolphins? Oh, it's the late game kickoff on a Sunday. The Jets, Jets, win, you're in. And the Broncos have to lose to Kansas City too. And then there's the Steelers and Bengals. But obviously, Kyle will have a lot on that every day. Locked On Dolphins, Alex Dono with Locked On Canes. We got the guys with Locked On Heat. And then we have the postcast, yours truly. This has been your Heat Postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease, Gries. Hope you're having a great New Year so far. All my resolutions are intact. I've been in the gym every night, but I always go to the gym. That wasn't really a resolution because resolutions don't last, but being resolute does. Let's go, Miami Heat. Get it together. I believe in Spo. I believe in this organization. You know they're going to get good with what they got. If this was their team for the rest of the year, they'd still make the playoffs. I believe. I don't know if you do, but I believe. But this team can be special. I look at Khalil Ware's development. I look at what Duncan can be in the right, with the right players added into this mix. Get them a point guard and Rozier is going to have to be in the deal. You bring in a point guard, but you bring in a point guard who's going to do what you thought Rozier could do. Score 15, 20 a game, dish out 10, 12 assists. A great point guard on this team would be the only thing I'd trade Jimmy Butler for other than an all-star front court player, power forward, maybe even a wing, but those great wings, teams aren't trading them unless it's another malcontent, another bad fit like Bradley Beal. Butler for Beal. Hit the restart button for both those guys and the teams because they're both free falling. That's it, Heat fans. Make it a great night. We will be here tomorrow with your Dolphins postcast right after the game, and that's a huge, huge game for the Miami Dolphins. And then, of course, on Monday, the Heat and the Sacramento Kings. Late starts all next week. Take a nap after work, like Eric Reed said, and come hang out with me, Jimmy G, late night in the place to be. I went to the University of Miami. You know what I'm saying? After school, I went straight to college. Down with the Kings. Anyway, down with the Kings. Monday in Sacramento. Keep your game tight and your mind right, Heat fans. We are. Peace to you too, Ricardo. We are out.